Hi, everybody. How are you? It's Mike Andrew. Just a few thoughts to share with you today around management or leadership. Management used to be the word, leadership tends to be the word today. But, when I hear people say that their ambition is to be a leader, what I observe is what they really mean is they want to be an executive. They want to be a general manager or a vice president or higher up. So when they say, I want to be a leader, that's what they really mean. They want to be a senior manager, which, if they're good, will require some leadership people skills, such as EQ, emotional intelligence, or enabling and building talent. But they still have to produce results on a consistent basis. But being a good executive, it requires not just leadership, the so-called leadership skills. It requires meeting a certain level of expectations for that role, specific to that company, specific to the industry. So if you work in a telecom industry, a telecom company, whatever company you're working for, you have to have a good sense of the industry, the function you work in, the expectations of your role. When we look at succession planning, we look at who's ready to be the next vice president. Why? Because there are certain role expectations that they have to meet. It's not just about being so-called good leader and utilizing these leadership skills, although that's important. The other thing is, how often have you seen, I'm sure you have, on social media, there's always a comparison between leadership is this and management is that. That drives me crazy because it disparages management and it thinks leadership is everything. Well, if you can be good at all those leadership things, but if you don't understand the business, don't have good business acumen, industry acumen, and can do the job, it's not going to do you any good. So leadership is good, but so is management. Don't downplay management. It's very, very important. And being a good manager, a good executive, requires a bit of leadership skills. And by the way, when we talk about leadership, we generally have the concept of being an organizational leader. Again, a vice president, senior vice president, general manager. But you know something? You can also be a leader in your field. You could be a leader in your field. A recognized doctor, a recognized lawyer, a recognized engineer, recognized in sales, a role model in your field. That's leadership. It doesn't necessarily have to be leading an organization and leading people. Finally, the last point I want to make is every day, I see it all the time on LinkedIn, and I'm guilty of it, by the way. We talk about what good leaders should do. Leaders must do this. Effective leaders do this. All good stuff. It contributes to the field of management and leadership. But I want to step back. You know why? Because I want to give the majority of current executives and managers out there credit. They're doing these things. They could teach us. They could teach all the writers out there about what effective management and leadership is. So as good as the contributions from everybody about what effective leadership is, don't forget management, and also realize that the vast majority of successful executives out there are practicing those things, or else they wouldn't have got where they've gotten, for the most part. I'm talking for the most part, not everybody. Years ago, unions were prevalent. Why? Because of unfair and poor management practices. Unions really aren't that necessary today because it's such a strong competitive, things are very competitive globally, and people have choice, they can leave. And plus management has improved dramatically. So I've seen a lot of very successful executives that practice good leadership skills. So for the most part, senior managers and leaders and executives, they get it. Although I would say continue contributing with thoughts on what makes effective leaders, but don't forget the role of manager, just as important. Thank you for listening.